Hi and welcome to my Taoist Alchemy Masterclass, just a 30-minute introduction to talk about how the ancient Taoists use this incredible method of what we would now call divination, but really what they would call just this harmonizing, cosmological harmonizing with nature, but through our observable reality. So they devised, or they named, the phenomena that they could observe that were creating, or rather that were formed on the armature of the masculine and the feminine energies dancing in different proportions and giving rise to the different phenomena that we see in nature. So they created what's known as the 8 symbols, the Bagua. And so we have these principles inside of us and as we observe them in our external reality. So we have what's known as the lake and heaven. These are our summer Bagua phenomena. They're heat, they're about birth and coming into fruition. Then we have these, like what they call the lesser yang Bagua phenomena. So we have the fire and the thunder, like the quakings and the ignitions. And then we move into the yin, the feminine. So we have the wind and the water. The magnetism, the movement, the flow, the regulation. And then we have, like at the far end of the yin, the greater feminine, we have mountain and we have earth. This is really about anchoring, anchoring everything that we receive into the earth, into our bodies and into the earth, and then radiating it back out again and sharing it with people on the earth. So we have the mountain that is like strong and unwavering and decisive and clear and elevated, exalted. And then we have the earth that's very yielding, strong, surrendered, birthing, produce, creating. And all of these principles, they weave together. So we have these hexagrams, or this large table that's created of 64 different permutations based on the 8 phenomena externally, and then we times that by the 8 phenomena internally. So we can start to think about all these phenomena with their qualities. And it can be very intuitive for you to think about all of these different phenomena and the way that they express. Like, you can even journal on it. It's a really beautiful thing to do. So if we start with mountain, then it's, it's strong, it juts up, it's very erect, isn't it? It's proud, as in not prideful, but just, here I am, spontaneously, effortlessly, without any show. So it's really about being structural, about creating discipline, about being unwavering, about being certain. When we come to make decisions, are we clear? Are we boundaried? Are we really directioning all of our creational will and personal will in the direction of our desires in this very strong, very clear, this is where I'm going way? Mountain is stability and integrity. It's exaltation. The soul is not shy and wants to radiate out through your body. So here we have the mountain, strong, here I am. The mountain is very explicit, isn't it? And straightforward. Here. Going here. Staying here. Doing that. Not moving from my position of truth. The mountain. What is the mountain for you? Then we have the earth, the magical earth, the physical manifestation of the feminine. And this really is about finding the balance between being very strong in order to birth ourselves and to birth our produce and really exhibit our gifts, to yield, to surrender. And I just think it's so magical how strong she is and how surrendered she is at the same time. And this is the earth, isn't it? Creational, birthing, produce. Giving, recycling all the time, offering. The earth is ancient wisdom and connection to the body, our connection to our body and how we connect our body with the earth, as an intrinsic part of the earth. Our bones are her bones, her solidness. Her rivers are our veins, our vessels. So the earth is natural, cosmic balance, it's regulatory. The feminine is always seeking to bring things into greater integrity and to restore balance. So if you're too hot, you're too animated, you're too something, you know, out of balance, like excessively masculine or excessively feminine, then, you know, life, the universal order, the feminine, the magnetic earth mother will seek to bring you into higher integrity, deeper integrity and wholeness, and balance those energies within you. You know, she'll so beautifully cool you down. You know, just like when there's a thunderstorm, it gets way too hot, so a thunderstorm cools everything down. The next day you're like, oh, I can breathe, you know. And there's definitely a place for all expressions and all weathers, aren't there? But this is the earth. She's regulatory, and she's all the time like, how can I restore? The earth is connected with the serpents, you know, the beautiful snakes of our earth that are also connected to this balancing aspect of nature and cosmic balance. You know, nowhere do we see the Shakti energy more alive than in the writhing of a snake with their belly really, really close to the earth. So we can observe this, and we can also tune into this frequency and also mirror the way that they move actually with this closeness to the earth, with this baseness, with this very, very anchored connection, like intrinsic connection to the earth, in order to get stability, in order to hold that magical writhing. Earth is also for me about wildness. You know, it's about rewilding and restoring the wild within us. You know, there is such a a prevalence in society, in most societies, to be neat and tidy. You know, even if you have an allotment, they'll be like, you know, can you try and make sure all the weeds are contained or whatever, or pulled out? And actually, you know, when you go into rewilding areas, it's incredibly cathartic and soothing, because there is this natural organisation and system going on. And we do need structure for sure, the masculine. But there is also this unapologetic wildness that comes through us, you know, that is not too refined, that isn't trying to make things tidy or neat for the benefit of others. It's a bit like, just let it all fall out, you know, just like this is all of me, take it or leave it. Because, you know, it is impossible to be in the heart space and be concerned about others' perceptions of you at the same time. And we're not here for everybody. We're here to express authentically and to connect with the people that we're here specifically to connect with, and, you know, really to align with our mission. And this is very earthing as well, isn't it? You know, we have to pull through the codes that we're receiving and then share them out in the way that we intuitively receive, and implant them, you know, infuse this energy back into the earth. And, you know, it's just so looping, isn't it? It's like this beautiful infinity looping. Earth is also mother and nakedness. So for me, this is really about being naked, naked and visible, like really speaking your truth, like showing yourself, being seen, allowing to be seen in all of your nakedness, not literal, like we don't actually have to take off all our clothes to prove that we're liberated. But it's really just about naked expression, like, am I being authentically me? Am I expressing how I would naturally without any adjustment whatsoever? Because here we find this beautiful, beautiful harmony internally, and then this is reflected back externally through all of our relationships and everything, and it's super magnetic. You know, when you're in your authentic essence and expression, and you're not trying to engineer, or, you know, you're without agenda, you're just like, this is me, and, you know, here I am. And, you know, those that want to move towards me, you know, I'm open, I'm open for that. And then, you know, it's about discernment, isn't it? And it's also about magnetism. So nakedness tends to be very magnetic, you know, because this is when we're in the heart space, and the heart creates this magnetic enfoldment all around you. And so, you know, this is the way. You know, this is the magnetic way to be naked and natural, not literal, but, you know, getting naked with the earth is an amazingly therapeutic activity. I don't think we necessarily always need to show that to everybody, but it's kind of contextual, isn't it? You know, like in wild areas, it just feels so beautiful to, you know, honour the way that she gets naked and be naked with her. And it's very healing for the body as well, to get your naked body in the waters and the rivers and like belly to soil. This really can really restore your energy levels like super, super quick. We have the water and the wind. And the water, naturally is so much about flow. It's also about your essence, because our home is in the waters, with our mother, as the ocean, as the sea, as all the streams and the rivers that find their way back organically back to the sea, back to the ocean. So water for me is so much about like getting into your own ocean, like finding the fire that obliterates the fear. So water is like adjustment, and it's about meandering, it's about flexibility and subtlety, it's about releasing rigidity, whether that's like rules that you hold for yourself, or like rigid expectations, or like rigid I must do this. It's also about honouring ebbs and flows, allowing those tidal come-ins and go-outs. It's really about releasement of attachment and honouring of cycles. Like we see the tidal pools, and this is affected in the ocean. It's also, very much impacting our bodies that are like 70-80% water. So honouring those cycles and like tuning into when do I need to be more explicit and when do I need to be more implicit, so that I can then be explicit again. Like imagine yourself as the ocean washing in and out. And the water really is your path of least resistance. I always visualise it. I was walking one day in England, and there was this like really heavy grassy area, and sort of meandering through the middle was this trodden path. I thought this is so interesting, because you can walk on all the other grass and it's a bit of a sludge, but how about like finding that path, your path of least resistance, which is your aligned path with your intuition, that runs through the middle and just is much easier to walk through. Often it's lessons that we've already learned, where, I don't know, for some reason trying to make things harder for ourselves. But there is this beautiful path down the centre that is not without obstacles. Expansion always comes with growth and universe tests, and, we're all the time having to discern, like, really in the body, really be in the body, and like, is that a heaven yes, or is it like a uncertainty? And until it's a heaven yes, waiting until it is, refine the timing, clear and open, and drop back into the rhythm again. Then we have the beautiful wind in all of her expressions. Oh my gosh, like typhoons and gentle breezes and gusts, all the way that the wind expresses. And this is very much about magnetism and allowing things to come, to be blown into your shore according to how like you've set intentions and what you've explicitly stated that you desire, and how you're gathering energy around something. So whatever your intention is, if you can stand very resolute with that intention, like bound to your desire, like completely uncompromisingly committed to your desires and all the intentions around that, because there'll probably be many different aspects, then the wind is what supports you in that creation process, and bringing and pulling and sometimes pushing, because sometimes things also have to leave, don't they, before new things can enter. And it's also the receptivity, dropping into this receptive space to be moved by the wind. Like to be blown somewhere, to be like, oh, this inspiration, and like I'm just called to go to somewhere, a particular place or a particular shop or a particular country, or call a particular person. Like allow yourself to be the wind, Like we're not separate from any of these elemental phenomena. We are an intrinsic part of them. So letting the wind blow your body, like blow your spirit, like allow to be moved by that incredible force. Like what are your compulsions, and follow them. Really just trust in them. Even if you don't know where it's fully taking you, if you're intuitively guided, it will be taking you to a very particular place for a particular reason. And we have the fire. Oh my gosh, the heat, the animation, your ignition. This is so much connected with your masculine, with masculine energy, with yang energy. And it's all about igniting and finding sparks and like, really stoking your own fire. Because when you find what you love, when you allow for inspiration, when you allow for those things that really animate your heart space and get you super excited, like this is really taking you in the direction. But then you have to marry that with the other kind of fire that is your will, your willpower and your discipline. I visualize it, I see it as this big sun at your at your navel center, at your solar plexus. And it's this discipline that's required, you know, to bring anything that you want to bring into form. It's also adherence, you know, it's sticking. I'm sticking to that desire, and I'm going to use all of my source energy and my fire to bring that into action, to bring that into reality, you know, to manifest it into my life and other people's lives, because it's inevitably going to influence other people's lives as well, whatever you're here to create. Fire is also your DNA map of potential. I always see it like a sperm and an egg. So the sperm has all the genetic information, it infuses with the egg. So our feminine is limitless and boundless. It's got so much energy, infinite energy. And then the masculine like penetrates that. And so the fire that we have, you know, any spark to action, any call to action whatsoever is ignited and instigated by the penetrating masculine, and it brings us into any sort of movement and will be aligned with our potential map according to how much we allow of our potentiality and according to how much we permit our desires. So the fire, finding the fire, stoking your own fire, you know, when you haven't really got it or you feel a bit exhausted, the best antidote for this is wholeheartedness. So do anything that you love, even if it's a tiny thing, and let that start to gather momentum. So fire is father, it's action, it's impulse to move, it's inspiration to move, and it's really about blooming and blossoming. The masculine in its purest expression, it never wants to take ownership of anything. Its intention is always pure. It's never to break, to hurt, but sometimes we get this very harsh masculine energy fire to open us, you know, and sometimes this is painful, and it opens us and it opens our heart because we've been holding on to something too tightly. So this is also fire, you know, it can be confronting, but it's always got this highest purpose, you know, in its expression, in its intention, embedded intention. The thunder, oh my gosh, we have this image of the masculine underneath this like bed of masculine energy with feminine energy on top, and this masculine energy, it rises up from underneath and it quakes open the earth. So we have this extraordinary breaking open, you know, like an advent, and sometimes it will feel like a death or a breaking. Often it is a breaking, and then out of this breaking comes this very magnificent like blossoming. You know, it's like something is like held and held and held and held and held, and it's reached all this tightness and it's just going to explode, and it does. So this masculine energy, this thunder, comes up from the bottom and it pushes you to open, it pushes you to express, to release what's been holding. And actually we can reduce the number of these quakings that we have to experience by being supple, by being more like water. And when we're more flexible, when we're more supple, when we open to release all that's being held in our energetic body and our physical body more and more regularly, like as it wants to come through, the less we have to be pushed to open. Then we have the lake. This is greater yang. This is like strong celestial yang energy. And the lake is all about holding space. It's about reflections, it's about clarity, it's about stillness within a space, or finding that still place of your soul. And you can think about all the beautiful qualities of a lake, you know, like this is for me like the pure masculine. It's really about ownership, like almost like the basin of the lake is the masculine ownership. It's like, I'm holding space for you, for this water. And then, like the stillness of the lake that shows you these reflections. You know, it's in the stillness, in these still, quiet places of our soul that we can see these reflections. The lake is so much also about finding our place, you know, finding the place that feels beautiful for us to be, and also finding the place within your soul that is your still place and expressing from this place. Because when we're in the light of our soul, then there is no overwhelm actually. You know, the soul knows nothing of overwhelm, and it's about finding this place of source within you and really connecting in there. Like whenever everything or anything feels overwhelming or chaotic, because you know there's so much chaos in the world, isn't there, as we're like giving birth to the light. Like we have to go through this tangly chaos, you know, at a collective level to give birth to the light. Then you can like drop into this like space of the lake, your lake, And you can use it as a visualization, the stillness of the lake, and the stillness of the light of your soul. Not that you're not evolving, your soul is always evolving, but just the clarity and the peace that is you and your pure light. This is the lake. This is the light. And yes, it's masculine. It's very masculine. It's mostly masculine. And lastly, we have heaven. So celestial and royal, etheric, ether. It's the invisible, it's the unseen realm, it's your soul, the soul, your soul itself. And it's about all the information that you are here to transmit from the heavens through your physical body. So heaven are your pure soul knowings, like your soul has all this wisdom that's gathered on its journey as it goes through lifetimes, as it has journeyed. And as more you ascend and awaken spiritually, as more you can bring in this light and you can bring in these knowings, and you'll just have these rememberings. It's like this retrieval of memory. It's like, wow, I've lived this life here, and I have this knowledge already inside of me. Like it's been dormant, but it can surface. You're bringing heaven and you're bringing it into your body and you're expressing it on earth. So heaven is your highest self. It's your higher knowledge, your higher wisdom. It's your highest expression on earth. It's divine love, and it's angelic, and it's pure in intention, and just unconditional love. It's like this expression of your truth through your soul light, through your body, through your essence and your natural, spontaneous, effortless action that gives birth to heaven on earth, and really here, heaven is about trusting in your divinity, trusting what's coming through your incredible body, trusting in your purpose and your mission, and trusting in what you receive beyond what's going on at a collective level, because sometimes this can be a distraction. It's like there's so much collective fear or societal conditionings that are still a part of majority collective thinking and patterns that are very much fear-based. And to step into your authentic nature, to really tune into your soul, it takes a lot of strength, but when you honour it, your physical body comes into such a place of rest and respite. So honour those soul knowings, trust in your divinity, trust in your light, and know that you will be protected. And as soon as you start expressing and honouring these authentic transmissions, or rather receivings, that you as this conduit are receiving, and you transmit them in this very natural, brave, bold way, then you can really trust that you'll be fully supported in these expressions, because whatever you receive in this highest light way is going to be fully protected as you express it through your humanness, through all of your vulnerability. Actually, it's like exposing yourself in your fullness, which is your God nature, and it's also your divine humanity, which is kind of your yin, and your connection to being an emotional being, which for me is the most treasurable bit of life. To be able to feel in all of the extremities is the most incredible gift that we experience. I think all of the heights and even the lows that break us open and shatter our visions of something that then give birth to new visions. This is all a part of the journey of what it means to be human. So there we have the heaven and the lake. These are the summer qualities. We have the fire and the thunder, the lesser masculine. Then we have the wind and the water, the feminine, and the greater feminine. We have the earth and the mountain. So as you start to move through your world and your life, you can start to think about all these properties and how these phenomena appear in your life, how you observe them, and also how they move through your own body, and then how you interact. When you're greeted with heaven, say, how do you respond to that light, to that angelic presence, to your own soul knowings? And we can use these Bagua symbols, the 8 symbols, to start to reflect upon how we harmonise. And when we find friction, how do we soften and become more fluid and flexible and adaptable in order to move through life in this more harmonic way. To go a bit deeper into this wisdom and into the hexagrams that are born out of the 8 Bagua times the external reality by the internal reality, you can dip into their ancient, really beautiful ancient divination method, which is so beautiful. I use it almost daily, and it's like this beautiful crutch point of intuitional guidance. So, you know, you'll have you and your soul and your intuition, your physical body and the way that you are aware. And then the reading of the Bagua, of the I Ching, it's called the I Ching, which literally translates as the easy book of changes. And it's about this continual flux of the universe and of you. And so doing these readings daily, or, you know, whenever you feel compelled, can be a really gorgeous way just to tap into your intuition and be like, where am I in relation to my external reality? Like, am I creating harmony, or am I creating friction? Or you can just see. So this method is gorgeous. It's just 3 coins of equal size awaiting. And you throw these 3 coins 6 times, and you write down your reading from 1 to 6 at the top, ascending, and you start from the bottom. And every time you throw the 3 coins at the same time, note how they land. So it might be 2 heads, 1 tail, or 3 tails, or 3 heads, or whatever, however they land, write down the permutations. And then you can make a note whether they land as 3 tails, which is a broken feminine line, 3 heads, which is a yang masculine line, 2 heads and 1 tail, which is also masculine, or 2 heads and 1 tail, which is a broken feminine line. So that's 3 heads is a yang masculine line, straight, unbroken. 3 tails is a yin feminine broken line. 2 tails, 1 head is a yang masculine line, and 2 heads, 1 tail is a broken feminine line. And write these alongside of each of your coin throws, and this will start to give you your upper and lower trigrams. And so you can know each time you do the coin throws how they land and whether it's a masculine or a feminine line. Then you can cut through your table. So you've got 1 to 6 ascending, all the permutations of how your coins landed. And then you can start to see that the bottom part of your table is your internal reality, so the first 3 coin throws, and the top 3 coin throws are your external reality. Whether you have heaven, lake, thunder, fire, water, wind, mountain, earth on top, and the same on the bottom. And this correspondence will start to give you information about how you are interacting with your external reality, rather how you're creating your reality, because your internal map is going to be a direct reflection of something that's happening outside. And so you can use this as a reflection point and guide for journaling, for contemplation, for thinking about how you adjust. So when you have these readings and you've got your number using this chart that I'm providing for you, then you can use your intuition and go a bit deeper into this reading. I've created this beautiful oracle called Tao for the Now. It's like an ancient futuristic version of this ancient book of changes that I've channeled from my soul wisdom from a previous Chinese life. And it's downloadable as an ebook, or you can have it as a physical copy. And when you have your reading, then you can start to see how your intuition is signaling to you through the reading. And it's really a compilation of questions, places of inquiry, there's an abstract verse. And what I recommend is that people just, write down anything that resonates from any of the text associated with the reading. The reading is born out of the interactions of the masculine and feminine and the energies that I spoke about earlier. And, all the time we can use this as a contemplation point, really. When you throw the coins, have a point of inquiry in mind, like a question. It might be about work or relationships or project building, or something to let go of, or what do you need to be more explicit about. You can ask any question you like, profound or small or deep or more surface, totally up to you. Just anything about any aspect of your life that you would like another point of information to use as like a push against, And then let your intuitional, beautiful light, really start to communicate with you about how to move forward and make an adjustment maybe to your behaviour, or maybe there's something to let go of, or just allow the reading to breathe into your body. So I hope you get as much pleasure from this divination method as I do. I find it extraordinarily useful. If ever my intuition is not so clear, or rather I'm not hearing it so clearly, the intuition is always clear, but if I'm not hearing her voice so clearly, just using this divination method has brought just extraordinary clarity for me and the people that have used it already. So yeah, have great fun playing and exploring your relationship, your inner landscape, mapping with your external reality. And I think just the beauty of life is that we keep changing, we keep making adjustments, and we don't get too fixed or hard on ourselves at all. We're just soft and supple and curious and playful and like experimenters of our life. And it's like, oh, where am I now and where do I want to be? And you know, what movements or let goes do I need to action or implement in order to feel more expansive, in order to be more expansive in this incredible world. So if you want to go into the grid a little bit more, the Taoist divination grid, it's on my website, the link's below, so you can go in a bit deeper and see all the numbers and all the different readings on a kind of surface level. And if you want to go deeper, you can go into the whole oracle and start getting really juicy with your inquiries and using it as often as you need to ask questions, because it's really just you answering your own question. So until the next video, sending you loads of love through the ether and happy divining.